My name is Sean Greer, Group Marketing Director for Midcomp. Today we're doing a generic video on some of the common problems that you would experience with dye sublimation printing or direct to fabric printing. Before you start printing, you need to ensure that you've done your maintenance, the routine maintenance on the machine, whatever that may be. Make sure that you've done an image quality test. Make sure that the nozzles are all firing perfectly. Make sure that your humidity and temperature are perfect. For this we use a humidity and temperature sensor. There you can see the humidity in my environment is 14%, where ink is designed to print at a relative humidity of between 30 and 50% and a room temperature of about 23 degrees. What the humidity does is it slows down the evaporation of the water-based ink on the print heads. So sometimes you may experience ink starvation, or what you think is ink starvation. Meanwhile, it's actually ink drying on the faceplate of the head, slowly from one end to the other, and that's caused by low humidity. Now, when you're printing something like sportswear or light boxes, you would need a heavy coverage of ink, right? So there's a lot of ink going down. Now this is water-based ink and paper. So what's going to happen is the water is going to saturate the paper and you're going to get cockling, i.e. the paper is wrinkling, and then you could have the potential of a head crash. So there's a couple of things that you can do. One, in the instance of this machine, we actually preheat the paper. So we're blowing hot air onto the paper to preheat it, which causes the water to evaporate a lot faster. You also have heater patterns on your machines, which would generally heat the paper up, also to do the same thing. And the other thing that you can do is obviously use a heavier grammage paper. The heavier the grammage, the more water it can hold, the less likely it is to cockle. So in this instance for sportswear, we use a 95 gram paper, and for soft signage and applications that take less ink, so to speak, we would use maybe a 45 gram paper. When doing any direct dye sublimation printing, you need to remember to mirror the artwork. So you can see here everything is mirrored. This is because we put it in the press and we are transferring it onto paper, so it will eventually come out the right way around. Another common issue that you might experience with especially transfer or dye sublimation printing is bidirectional banding. The reason why you experience this is when the head is traveling bidirectionally, it's traveling in two directions. But due to the configuration of the heads, it lays down the ink in one direction, cyan, magenta, yellow, black. But when the head is traveling in the opposite direction, it says black, yellow, magenta, cyan. So it's laying it down in a different order. Now, sometimes when you eventually calendar press it, this bidirectional banding disappears and you don't notice it, but other times it's unavoidable. The only solution to this problem is just to switch your machine to unidirectional. You need to print yourself a proof. Make sure that you use the same settings to print your job as you did to print the proof, and make sure that the proof is signed off by your client. So here you can see that there's a signature by the client, and this is the acceptable color. With direct to fabric printing, it's a little bit of a new dynamic in that you've got fluff that can be formed on the manufacturing of the fabric. So you always got to make sure that the edges of the material are nice and smooth and no little bits of fluff, because that fluff would get caught up in the print heads. The other thing to note is that fabric sort of absorbs dirt a lot easier. So from handling, you'll see that there's fingerprints and all that kind of stuff. So just always make sure that you advance the dirt out of the print, or the dirty fabric out of the print, so that you're working with nice clean fabric. The beauty of direct to fabric printing is that you don't have to worry about the paper creasing. It's a matter of just putting it through the press, heat pressing at a consistent temperature, and then the colors will pop thereafter.